The early part of the season always brings surprises. And right now, there are a couple of players in AAA that are starting to make a lot of noise and forcing the organization to pay very close attention. Even though the major league roster is already very strong, performances in the minor leagues can change plans very quickly, especially when players are producing at an extremely high level and showing consistency every single game. That is exactly what is happening right now, and it is becoming harder and harder to ignore what these players are doing. One of the biggest stories at the moment is a player who almost made the main roster but ended up starting the season in AAA. Since being sent down, he has responded in the best way possible, not by slowing down or losing confidence, but by putting up incredible numbers and proving that he is ready for the next level. Performances like this always create pressure in a good way, because the coaching staff starts to think about how they can make room for a player who is clearly producing and helping the team win games at every level he plays. What stands out the most is the consistency at the plate. It is not just one good game or one lucky performance. It has been a series of strong games, good at-bats, getting on base, making contact, and showing discipline. Players like this are extremely valuable because they bring balance to the lineup. Not every player needs to hit home runs all the time. Sometimes what a team really needs is someone who can get on base, extend innings, and create opportunities for the power hitters to drive in runs. And when you look at the current lineup, there are already plenty of power hitters, players who can change the game with one swing. So having someone who focuses on contact, getting on base, and maintaining a solid batting average can actually make the entire offense more dangerous. Baseball is often about balance, and teams that have different types of hitters usually have more success over a long season. Another important point is that the team has started the season well, but the offense has not fully exploded yet like it did last season in certain stretches. They are winning games, the pitching staff has been doing a great job, and the bullpen has been extremely reliable so far. But everyone knows that the offense can still reach another level. When that happens, this team becomes very difficult to beat. That is why performances in AAA are so important right now. The organization knows that if they need a spark, if they need more consistency, or if they need to adjust the lineup due to injuries or rest days, there are players ready to come up and contribute immediately. That kind of depth is something every team wants, but very few teams actually have at this level. There's also another player in AAA who has been absolutely on fire to start the season. We're talking about power, consistency, and production all at the same time. When a young player starts the season like this, people inside the organization start paying very close attention because performances like this can accelerate a player's path to the major leagues. If he continues producing like this, it will be very difficult to keep him in the minor leagues for too long. What makes this situation interesting is that the major league roster already has very strong players in the outfield and in multiple positions, so it is not just about performance. It is also about timing, opportunity, and roster space. Sometimes a player deserves to be called up, but there is simply no room at the moment. However, in a long season, opportunities always appear. Injuries happen, players need rest, and sometimes the team just needs a different type of hitter in the lineup. If this player continues hitting for power and maintaining a high on-base percentage, the coaching staff will eventually have to make a decision. You cannot ignore production forever, especially when a player is showing that he is ready for the next level. The biggest challenge will not be whether he deserves to be called up, but rather where he will fit into the lineup when that moment comes. This is actually a good problem for the team to have. Having too many good players is always better than not having enough. Competition inside the organization pushes everyone to perform better because every player knows that if they slow down, there is someone in AAA performing at a very high level and ready to take that opportunity. While all of this is happening with the minor league players, there are also important updates at the major league level, especially regarding player rotations, rest days, and opportunities for younger players to get playing time. Managing a long season is not just about having talent, but also about keeping players healthy, giving them rest at the right time, and making sure everyone is ready when the most important games of the season arrive. The coaching staff seems to be very focused on balancing playing time, especially for key players who play demanding positions. Giving rest days early in the season can make a huge difference later in the year, and it also creates opportunities for other players to step in and prove what they can do at the major league level. These opportunities are very important because sometimes a player only needs one chance to prove that he belongs. So as we continue through this early part of the season, there are multiple storylines developing at the same time. The Major League team is winning games and showing strong pitching and bullpen performance. While in Triple-A, there are players performing at such a high level that they're making it very difficult for the organization to ignore them. If this trend continues, it feels like it is only a matter of time before we see some roster moves and new faces getting opportunities at the highest level. Another important development that deserves attention is how the team is managing playing time behind the plate and giving opportunities to younger players who could become important pieces throughout the season. With a long schedule ahead, it is impossible for one catcher to play every single game, and this opens the door for another player to start getting more innings, more at-bats, and more experience at the major league level. These moments can be very important for a young player's confidence and development, especially when he knows the coaching staff trusts him enough to give him real opportunities. This situation also helps the main catcher stay fresh and maintain a high level of performance throughout the season. Fatigue is something that affects players more than fans sometimes realize, especially at physically demanding positions. By rotating players and giving rest at the right time, the team increases its chances of staying strong, not just now, but later in the season when games become even more important and the pressure increases. But so far the bullpen. When a bullpen starts the season performing like this, it also reduces pressure on the starting rotation. Starters do not feel like they need to pitch complete games or go extremely deep into every game, because they trust the relievers to finish the job. This creates a better balance for the pitching staff and helps prevent injuries and fatigue over the course of the season. Another interesting point is how the team has been winning games in different ways. They have come from behind, they have protected small leads, and they have shown that even when the offense is not at its best, they can still find ways to win. Teams that can win in multiple ways are usually the most dangerous teams because they are not dependent on just one strength. If the hitting is not working one night, the pitching can carry the team. If the pitching has a tough game, the offense can score enough runs to compensate. As the schedule continues, there are going to be some very interesting matchups ahead, and those games will be a good test to see how strong this team really is at this point in the season. Early season games are important, but games against strong opponents are usually where teams really measure themselves and understand what they still need to improve. What makes this moment of the season especially interesting is that the team is winning. The bullpen is performing at a high level. Younger players are starting to get opportunities. In the minor leagues, there are players performing so well that roster decisions may become very difficult in the near future. This combination creates competition, depth, and internal pressure, which are all things that strong organizations usually have. If the minor league players continue performing like this, it will not be surprising to see some roster changes in the coming weeks. Not necessarily because the major league team is struggling, but because some players are simply forcing the organization to give them a chance. Performance always creates opportunity, and right now, there are a few players doing everything they can to prove that they deserve to be playing at the highest level. At the same time, the major league team continues to focus on building momentum, improving the offense, maintaining strong pitching, and staying consistent. The season is still very long, and the most important thing right now is building rhythm, keeping players healthy, and continuing to win series whenever possible. If they continue doing that while also developing young talent and maintaining strong depth in the organization, this team will be in a very strong position as the season moves forward. Another factor that could become very important as the season progresses is how the coaching staff manages momentum and confidence inside the clubhouse. When a team starts the season winning games and seeing players perform well in both the major leagues and the minor leagues, the overall atmosphere becomes very competitive in a positive way. Players know that performance matters, effort matters, and every opportunity counts. This kind of environment usually pushes everyone to focus more, train harder, and stay mentally prepared for when their moment comes. You can also see that this team is not just relying on one or two stars to carry everything. Different players are contributing in different moments, whether it is a key hit, a strong defensive play, or important innings from the bullpen. Teams that spread responsibility across the roster usually perform better over a long season because baseball is simply too long and too demanding for only a few players to carry the entire team from start to finish. Another interesting storyline to follow is how the offense will evolve over the next few weeks. Right now, the team has shown flashes of what they can do, but there is still a feeling that the lineup has another level to reach. Once the main hitters start finding their rhythm and the team begins scoring earlier in games instead of always having to come from behind, the pressure on the pitching staff will decrease and the team will become even more dangerous. So when you look at everything happening right now, it is actually a very positive moment for the organization. The Major League team is performing well, the bullpen looks strong, young players are getting opportunities, and in the minor leagues there are players performing at such a high level that they are creating real competition for roster spots. If this trend continues, we could see some very interesting roster decisions and possibly some new faces making an impact at the Major League level sooner than many people expected. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. The buzz around the league has grown louder, and now insiders are whispering what many thought impossible just weeks ago. KETEL MARTE has reportedly agreed to join the Los Angeles Dodgers. While no official announcement has been made, multiple sources close to the situation suggest that the deal is done, pending only formalities. MARTE, widely regarded as one of the most versatile and dynamic infielders in the game, would represent a significant addition to an already star-studded Dodgers roster. Known for his smooth swing, defensive flexibility, and ability to deliver in high-pressure moments, his arrival could signal yet another aggressive move by the franchise to maintain its dominance. The speculation began quietly, with reports of internal discussions and exploratory talks. But in recent hours, the tone has shifted dramatically. League executives are now treating the move as imminent, with some even suggesting that Marte has already begun preparations for his transition to Los Angeles. For the Dodgers, this potential signing aligns with their long-standing strategy: acquire elite talent capable of making an immediate impact. Marte's presence would not only deepen the lineup, but also provide manager flexibility across multiple positions, something that has become increasingly valuable in today's game. Still, questions remain. How will Marte fit into the existing structure? What adjustments will be made to accommodate his role? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for the rest of the league, now forced to contend with an even more formidable Dodgers squad? Until the official confirmation arrives, the baseball world remains in suspense. But one thing is clear: if the rumors hold true, this move could reshape expectations and shift the balance of power in a way few anticipated. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.